So, OpenAI just dropped its brand new browser, ChatGPT Atlas, and the hype is absolutely off the charts. The promise? To completely change the way we use the internet. But, and this is a big but, once you look past the cool features and the AI magic, there's a much darker story brewing. A story about huge security risks, your privacy, and what some are calling the very first browser that's actually against the web.
Hey, before we dive in, if you want to keep getting the real story behind all the new AI tech, do me a favor and hit that like button, subscribe, and share this. It's a huge help, and it lets us keep cutting through the noise to see what's really going on.
All right, here's the game plan. First, we'll look at how Atlas just exploded onto the scene, especially in the corporate world. Then we'll check out its futuristic features. After that, though, we're going to expose the serious security flaws that researchers found almost immediately. From there, we'll get into this wild idea of an anti-web browser, ask who's really the one in charge here, and wrap it all up by looking at the big trade-off, your productivity versus your privacy.
Okay, first up, the launch. When Atlas dropped on October 21st, 2025, it wasn't just a ripple, it was a full-on tidal wave, especially inside big companies. It spread at a speed that, honestly, security experts had just never seen before.
Just get a load of this number. In the first week, 1 week, nearly 28% of all major companies had at least one employee download Atlas. In some places, 10% of the entire company was using it almost overnight. This wasn't a slow adoption, it was an absolute wildfire.
And here's where it gets really crazy. Look at this comparison to its biggest competitor, Perplexity's Comet browser. Now, Comet was a pretty big deal when it came out, but Atlas saw 62 times more downloads inside companies. That's not just a win, that is complete and total domination. Pretty much all thanks to the massive name recognition of ChatGPT.
So what is this thing that caused this absolute frenzy? Well, according to OpenAI, Atlas isn't just another browser that looks like Chrome. Oh no, they're selling it as a total reimagining of how we browse, with ChatGPT basically woven into its DNA. The whole experience is built to feel like a conversation. You've got this sidebar where you can highlight anything on a page and just ask ChatGPT to explain it or translate it. There's a smart memory, so you can find a page from weeks ago just by, describing what it was about. It even helps you write better, right there in your emails or social media. And for the paying customers, you get agent mode, which is supposed to be your own personal assistant that can do complicated stuff for you.
And this quote from Axios, it just hits the nail on the head. This isn't just about a cool new product. This is a massive strategic play. OpenAI wants to make ChatGPT the main way we get information from the internet, taking that power away from search engines and putting it right in their hands.
Okay, but here is where the whole story takes a very sharp turn. Because underneath all that shiny, futuristic tech, security researchers immediately started trying to break it. And, well, they found some really, really big problems.
The root of the problem is something called prompt injection. And you don't have to take my word for it. OpenAI's own Chief Information Security Officer has admitted it's an unsolved security problem. Basically, it's a way to trick an AI into doing something malicious. It's not a simple bug, it's a fundamental flaw in the technology that Atlas is built on.
And one of the ways hackers can use this flaw is with a pretty old-school attack. It's called cross-site request forgery, or CSRF. I know, it's a mouthful. But put simply, it's when a bad website you visit secretly tells your browser to do something on another website where you're already logged in, like ChatGPT, all without you knowing.
So a security company found a vulnerability they named tainted memories, and it's pretty scary. Here's how it works. You're logged into ChatGPT, you click on a bad link somewhere else. That link then secretly tells ChatGPT to save some malicious instructions in its memory. It's like an attacker is whispering a hypnotic suggestion into the AI's subconscious, just waiting for the right moment.
So how do they get you to click that bad link? Phishing, of course. And this is where Atlas just completely fails. In a test with over 100 real phishing scams, Chrome and Edge blocked about half of them. Atlas? It stopped a pathetic 5.8%. That means over 94% of the threats got right through, making you almost 90% more likely to get hacked than on a normal browser.
Now, these security flaws are a huge deal, but some critics are saying they're just a symptom of a much bigger, more philosophical problem. Their claim is that Atlas isn't just a flawed browser, it's something entirely new, the first anti-web browser.
This really powerful idea comes from the technologist Anil Dash. And what he's arguing is that Atlas isn't designed to help you explore the web. It's designed to replace the web with something that OpenAI controls.
Let's break down what he means. The web we all know and love is all about discovery, right? You see a source, you click a link, you explore. It's open. The Atlas way throws that all out. It gives you an AI summary and it hides where that info came from. It traps you in its own little world. Instead of clicking, you have to type commands and just trust whatever the black box spits out.
Dash says it's like going back to playing an old text adventure game from the 80s, where you had to guess the exact right command to get the computer to do anything. It's a frustrating guessing game. We invented clickable links and icons for a reason. They're easy, they're intuitive, they show you what you can do. Typing commands at an AI feels like a massive step backwards.
And this leads us to what might be the most disturbing part of the whole argument. Atlas is sold with this cool agent mode, where the AI works for you. But what if that whole relationship is actually flipped upside down?
Yeah, just think about that for a second. Is the AI your agent, or are you its agent? OpenAI tells you this amazing tool is working for you, but the way it's built, it kind of looks like you're the one working for them, gathering data for their AI model.
Seriously, every time you give Atlas permission to see a page to summarize it for you, you're opening a door for OpenAI to see things its web crawlers could never get to. Confidential documents you have to log in to see. Private DMs, the things you type but then delete. You are basically escorting OpenAI into the most private corners of the internet so it can train its AI.
And the thing you're supposed to get in return for all this access, that fancy premium agent mode, it's dangerously unreliable. In one test, someone asked it to just book a flight. It did everything right, and then, at the last second, it silently changed the date to a few weeks later. That's not just a little bug. That's a critical, disastrous mistake waiting to happen. So at the end of the day, it all comes down to a massive trade-off. Atlas is putting two things we all value in a head-to-head battle: the promise of amazing productivity and the danger of giving up our privacy and our security. So let's just lay it all out. The promise of agent mode is that it'll automate your life. The reality, it's unreliable and can be hacked. The promise of smart memory is a personal assistant that knows you. The reality, it's a complete surveillance profile of everything you do online. And the promise of AI summaries is fast answers. The reality, it's a walled garden that cuts you off from the real web. Which leaves us with one last massive question. Look, the convenience that Atlas offers is real, I get it. But is that convenience worth giving one single company a complete record of your entire digital life, and also giving them the power to change the internet from an open platform into their own closed playground? Because really, that's the choice we're all being asked to make.